Hello, and welcome to the MMA Mic Drop Podcast. My name is Jade Bunky, and I'm joined by the one and only MMA Milo, who is not only an emerging MMA analyst, but also one of the top up-and-coming amateur surfers in the world. In today's episode, we're going to break down everything that's about to go down at UFC Des Moines, Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. Milo, there's some interesting fights on this card. How would you grade this card overall?
I'm going to give it a B minus.
Okay. Any elaboration on that?
No.
All right, I'll elaborate for you because I think we're similar. I'm going to give it a C plus. There are some legitimately compelling fights, but my biggest problem with this fight card is that there's six fighters over the age of 37. And that's a problem because, fighters typically fall off around 34, 35. So we have a lot of fighters on this fight card who are far past their prime. I think, the main event is a really good main event. It is really interesting, Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. But one of the things, and we'll get into this in just a moment, is that they're both coming off losses. And one of the fighters is 37. And so I don't really want to watch in a main event two guys who are coming off a loss. It is a good matchup and it is relevant. It's just not what I'm looking for in a main event in front of a live crowd. I think this card is better suited for the Apex. But with that said, there's still some interesting matchups. So let's get into it. All right. So the main event, it's Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Now, Sandhagen, he's a really good striker. He throws out pretty good volume. He is a legitimate top 5 person in this weight class. He's always been right there, a legitimate title contender. And when you look at Figueiredo, I mean, he's, the former flyweight king, excuse me. And, he's known for that quadrilogy against Brandon Moreno, probably the only time in which I'd ever want to see a quadrilogy. Each fight was really interesting. He moved up to bantamweight. He has looked good. He won his first 3 fights. He lost his last one against Peterson. And I think the problem is, he's 37 years old. I think if this fight was a few years ago, it might be a little bit different. But I think Sandhagen is going to win this in a pretty dominant fashion. Give me Sandhagen by a really fun and interesting fight, but I believe it's going to be a pretty clear-cut decision. What do you think?
I'm going to go Sandhagen by 3rd round knockout.
And what's your rationale?
Just because Deiveson Figueiredo is getting too old. And you kind of saw that in the last fight against Peterson. I feel like he's going to do the exact same thing, but I think he'll actually knock him out.
Oh, so you think Sandhagen's going to knock him out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I think, that last fight was some foreshadowing of what's to come. And the reason why I say that is, you have the age and he has looked good. He's looked good given that he doesn't have to cut as much weight. But, in terms of that elite level athleticism, that's going to start slipping more and more. And yeah, I think Sandhagen is just too good. And let me check the odds on this fight as well, real quickly. Let's see. We have Sandhagen minus 470, Figueiredo plus 360. So yeah, we're in alignment with the odds there. All right, the co-main event, and this is one of the most interesting fights.
Those odds are kind of crazy.
Yeah, you think so? What would you put it at?
I mean, minus 410. I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet on that fight. I feel like David.
Yeah, no, I think it's, even though I'm predicting Sandhagen, it's so hard to do it against somebody who is so good. Have that line against somebody who is so good. I wouldn't be
really that surprised if he did beat him. But
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, so you're looking at, even though you think Sandhagen's going to win by knockout, you see the fight as being competitive until Sandhagen eventually catches him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which could happen. I was a little surprised. I remember looking at the odds the other day, and I was like, "Wow, that's a little wide." We'll see if it closes as the fights get a little bit closer. But yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Now, next up, this is the most interesting matchup from my perspective. I don't know if you agree. Bo Nickal versus Reinier de Ridder. Bo Nickal minus 310 favorite. De Ridder plus 250, and this is a far cry from when Bo Nickal was a minus 1,200, a minus 1,600, in his previous fights. And I think part of that is, to do with one, we saw him come down to earth a little bit. He was finishing it everybody. He did not finish Paul Craig, which people thought he had such a significant striking advantage. Also maybe are definitely in the wrestling, as well. Although Paul Craig is an elite level grappler. And speaking of elite level grapplers, this is why I think this fight is interesting. Dave Ritter's good. He is an elite level grappler. I think he's a 2 division champ at his previous promotion. And yeah, let me just take a look here. He's only lost to one guy. He lost to this guy twice, and he was he was a 14-1 fighter in his promotion. I think it was one. Yeah, that's right. He was over at one. And besides that, I mean, I'm looking at this right now. He's 2-0 in the UFC. He's 16 or 19-2 overall. He has 17 finishes and 13 of which have come by submission. He is really good. The thing is, Bo Nickal doesn't have the level of experience and he doesn't have the grappling acumen, but he is an elite level wrestler. And let me say this clearly. It's not that just he's an elite level wrestler. He's one of the best wrestlers of all time. And I'm not talking about in the UFC. I'm talking about ever. This guy, I think he's a 3-time NCAA champ. I mean, he is the elite of the elite when it comes to wrestling. And when you mix a wrestler with a grappler, a lot of times you're going to look at, I'm going to favor the person who's going to control the positions, right? De Ridder is going to be very dangerous everywhere on the ground. But I think Bo Nickal is going to be dominant. And I think as long as this fight stands last on the feet, Bo Nickal has the power advantage. And I think eventually he's going to catch De Ridder. Give me Bo Nickal by 3rd round TKO. What do you think, Milo?
I'm gonna go Bo Nickal by decision, but I think the fight's actually gonna be pretty close.
Do you think?
I think
Do
it's
you
gonna
think?
stay on the feet too.
Oh, really? It's funny because sometimes when you get two grapplers or two people who's whether it's a wrestler and a grappler, sometimes they just stay on the feet. Same times,
Yeah.
when sometimes you get two strikers and they end up grappling.
Yep. I'm clinching, yeah.
All right, third up, Santiago Ponzanibio versus Daniel Rodriguez. If this fight was 5 years ago, it would have been amazing. Right now, I have no desire to see it. Both guys are 38. Both guys are incredible fighters, or I should say, were incredible fighters. And let me look at the odds. So Ponzanibio is a -115. Rodriguez is a -105. So when you look at Daniel Rodriguez, what do you have here? You have somebody who's tough as nails. You have somebody who marches forward. You have somebody who is a boxer. He throws straight strikes. The problem is, as of late, he doesn't throw combos anymore. He was always one-dimensional, but he had such good power in his hands, and he threw relatively decent volume before that. He was dangerous for anybody. But right now, we've seen it in his last 2 fights. He'll throw out a jab once in a while, and then it's just his volume. And I think that's going to be a problem against Santiago Ponzanibio. He has fallen off as well. Again, he's 38, but I don't think he's fallen off to the extent that D-Rod has. And I think he's just a little more well-rounded as well. So I think this fight can go anywhere, and I think it will still favor Ponzanibio. So give me Ponzanibio by decision, and I think a pretty clear-cut decision. What do you think?
I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think I'm gonna go decision.
All right. Any reason or
Yeah, I think he just hasn't fallen off as much.
not as much? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a discrepancy regarding the degree to which these fighters have fallen off, and I think D-Rod has fallen off more. It's too bad. I mean, he's such a fun fighter to watch. All right, and this is where we kind of gave this fight card some low grades, but there's some pretty good fights, and this is one of the best fights on here is Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. And let me check out the odds real quickly. And I looked at this the other day, and this shocked me. Marcos is a +180, whereas Montel Jackson is a -218, and that's shocking for me because Marcos is an undefeated fighter. He's 17-0, and I thought he would be the person with a lot of hype, and I thought therefore that he would probably have better odds. But let me break down this fight. So, like I said, Daniel Marcos has looked good. He's a younger guy. He's a prospect. He's throws out some pretty good volume. He's very athletic. I don't think he's top 10 worthy, which I think a lot of people do. A lot of people are really high on him. I think he's a good addition to not only the UFC, but it will be a good addition to the top 15 because I think he's maybe on the periphery of the top 15. But I think Montel Jackson is one of the more underrated fighters. He's 14-2. He has quick hands. He's on a bit of a winning streak. And let me just check out. Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's on a 5-fight winning streak against better levels of competition in each fight. This is an excellent matchup, but I'm going to take Jackson. I thought he would be the underdog, so I thought I was going to come with a really cool surprise upset. Apparently, I'm just going with what the odds are right now, but I think Jackson is going to get it done in a very fascinating fight. What do you think?
I'm gonna disagree. I think I'm gonna go Daniel Marcos by decision.
What have you seen about him that you like?
I've only seen him submit somebody, but I don't know. He looked pretty good everywhere.
Yeah, I remember before. I think you were saying you like his athleticism a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty light on his feet. So, yeah, I mean, it's a compelling matchup. All right, next up we have Cameron Smotherman versus Sidi, and I am not even interested in this fight at all. I'm going to give you the odds. I'm going to give you a quick pick before I get into more compelling stuff. Sidi is a minus 142. Cameron Smotherman is a plus 120. I'm taking Cameron on this one. I don't know. I'm not even interested in this fight. Oh, I'm taking him by decision. What do you think?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna agree with you. Cameron.
Yeah, this fight, I'm just not. And this is where the card really starts falling off. There's some really good fights on the main card. This might even still be on the main card. If so, I don't even know why. All right, the return of Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. Mason Jones is a minus 575. Stephens is a plus 425. Stephens is on this card for one reason. He was born in Des Moines, so it's a homecoming. I know the UFC does a good job at putting local fighters or fighters who are at least regional fighters on the local cards. I just have no desire to watch Jeremy Stephens fight. I believe he hasn't fought in 2-3 years. He's
Didn't he
38
bare
years
knuckle or
old.
something?
I think I'm not sure.
But he's the
I
hardest
just
hitting
know.
145 pounder.
What's that?
Have you seen the clip of him and Conor McGregor?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
Why? Tell me about it.
isn't that like the same guy? He's like the hardest hitting 145 pounder. Isn't that guy?
I have no idea.
I need to find this, bro. It's good.
I mean,
Funny.
he did have a lot of finishes. I mean, he has 29 fights. He is, lightweight. He had 19 TKOs, which is pretty amazing. But he's also 29 and 21. So, when I think about it, I don't want to see a 29, 21, 38-year-old fight at all. That's just not even interesting to me. He's going up against Mason Jones. Mason Jones is okay. He's not great. He's not bad. He's going to be a lot better than Jeremy Stephens because he's also a lot younger. Excuse me. He's only 30 years old. He's 15-2. He fell out of the UFC. This is making his return to the UFC. He's most recently at Cage Warriors. Give me Jones by third round TKO. What do you think?
I'm gonna go Jeremy Stephens by first round TKO.
Wow. Okay. Wow. What is going on? What do you think is going to happen, or how is that going to happen?
He's gonna knock him out. He's gonna do like a backflip and like knock him out.
So a Michelle Pereira type backflip, even at 38 years old,
Yeah.
and he's just going to do something crazy in front of his home crowd.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, there you have it. If that happens, Milo's a genius. If it
Yep.
doesn't happen, Milo's not a genius.
Bam.
Very binary thinking there. All right, next up we have Yana Santos versus Misha Tate. This is a good fight for the undercards in front of a live audience, just because Misha Tate has a good name recognition. Again, she's 38. Santos is 35. I think the matchmaking is appropriate. I rarely like to see older fighters fight that much. Tate is a minus 142. Santos is a plus 120. I think despite her age, I think, she's just a much better overall fighter. And I think that's going to play out here. Give me Misha Tate by decision and a fight that's not as boring as it might look on paper.
I'm gonna go Santos by decision.
All right, there you have it. Next up, Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. And Robertson a minus 340, Rodriguez a plus 270. This fight would have been awesome like 3 years ago. Rodriguez, I believe she's 37 as well. And again, this is where this fight card continues to fall off. Too many older fighters that are not going to make a run, and have minimal name value, so it's not as interesting. Rodriguez, she's a really good striker. I mean, she's still competitive. She is still good. She's been losing recently, but she's been losing to really good fighters. Jillian Robertson has gotten a lot better. I didn't think she was as good as she actually is now. She's a really good submission artist. And let me check out how many subs she has.
She has
She's
9 wins by submission.
Yeah, which is pretty which is pretty crazy because she's fighting at 115 pounds. She has, out of her 15 wins, 11 of which are by finish, and like you said, 9 are by sub. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And I think she's going to get it done here. Give me Robertson by third round submission. What do you think?
I agree. I'm going to go Robertson by third round submission.
All right. Next up, we have Ryan Loder versus Azamat Bakoev. And I know he's had one fight in the UFC. He's looked good. And let me just bring up the odds here. Azamat is a minus 380. Loder is a plus 300. And I think Azamat's going to actually absolutely smash him. Give me Azamat by first round TKO. What do you think?
I'm going to go Azamat by second round submission.
All right. There you have it. All right. Next up, Gaston Bolanos versus Quang Lee. I think this is a pretty interesting fight. I think Bolanos is actually, I think he's actually pretty good. I think he's a decent striker. Quang Lee's not very exciting, but I think Bolanos is going to outpace him. I think he's going to be up on the judges' scorecards before he puts Quang Lee out with a third round TKO. What do you think?
I agree.
That's it?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, 2 more fights to get through. Thomas Peterson versus Dantel Mays. Heavyweight fight. This is, again, not that interesting. I mean, it's appropriate to put it second, from the fight card, so I'm not mad that it's on the fight card. It's just not the most exciting thing to break down. Dantel, both guys are big dudes. They're slow. Dantel Mays is gigantic. I mean, he is he's 6'6", 266. That's pretty much all I can say. I'm going to take Peterson. I think he's going to catch him. Give me Peterson by third round knockout.
I'm just going to go the opposite of you. I'm going to say it's a heavyweight fight, so anybody can get knocked out. I'm going to say
that's true.
Dantel by first round knockout.
There you go. All right. And opening up the card, it's Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic. I'm not too excited about this fight either. Give me Petrovic by decision. What do you think?
Yep, Petrovic by decision.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Those are our picks. Again, there's some really interesting fights up top, and then this fight card falls off a cliff. Too many old fighters. Not overly excited about it. I mean, I'm excited to watch, but not, it's not one of those ones I'm really looking forward to, like that last one we had with Ian Gary versus, Carlos Prates, and that whole fight card was absolutely stacked. This one is basically the antithesis of this and is, quite underwhelming. Now, before we go, one more thing, I'm going to kook of the week. My kook of the week is Michel Pereira. In his last fight that just wrapped up, we saw him lose to Abus Magomedov, and he lost because he simply did not throw punches at all. He was, and it was pretty shocking to see. I mean, something was going on. He was either injured, he was betting on the fight, or something, because this is not how he fights at all. And what was really disappointing about that is in the third round, Abus Magomedov completely gassed. All Michel Pereira had to do was throw a couple combos, and he could have probably knocked him out. So Michel Pereira is my kook of the week. Milo, do you have a kook of the week?
I'm just gonna give it to Ian Gary just because.
Just because he's a kook?
Yeah, he's a kook.
You know who could be a runner? You know who can be runner up is Carlos Prates, because even though he didn't have he didn't have the same game plan as Michel Pereira of not fighting. He actually was really hesitant for the first 3 rounds and just
Yeah.
gave away rounds. And when he turned it on in the last 2 rounds, we saw. I mean, he almost put Ian Gary out in the last round.
Yep.
If he would have done that early on, this could have been a much different story. So I would say he's my runner-up kook of the week.
Yep.
All right, there you have it. Milo, do you have a last word?
Drop the mic.
We're out.